East meets West in the East Bay as Miami FC makes a cross-country trip to take on the Oakland Roots at Cal State East Bay in Hayward, California. Alongside Jose Rodriguez, I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us tonight for two old foes from their Niza days, now in the USL Championship days. Look at the standings, shows you that Oakland is in a good spot still. They've lost 3 straight in all competitions, Jose, and need to get back on track.
Absolutely. They need 3 points here tonight, especially playing at home. And listen, they're still sitting in 7th place, still playoff position, but of course, Oakland expects a little bit more than that. They want to go higher in the standings. Hopefully, this will be a good start for them.
Miami FC finally broke out last week with a win against Vegas, their first win of the season, but they've also only lost 2 in 7 games. A lot of draws so far, has them in 8.
Yeah, similar situation for Miami, only 7 points as well. But they have a lot of talent. For them, it's about playing defense and finding opportunities in the counterattack, especially tonight against Oakland Roots.
And for Oakland to get back on track, they welcome Eduardo Rito back to the lineup. Was away for good reason last week, birth of his child, and he's in a different position higher up the field tonight, Jose.
Yeah, we'll talk about the lineup in a minute, but expect Rito to play a different role. Yeah, still very aggressive, still going through the right wing, but I think there's a little bit of a surprise for us here tonight.
I definitely missed him last week, a different dynamism that he brings to the 11. Back in it today. Speaking of dynamism, how about that Miami showing last week against Vegas? They almost eclipsed all of their totals from the previous 4 weeks combined.
Well, yeah, they did score 4 goals against Vegas, and then they did score 2 more goals midweek against Inter Miami in Open Cup play. So 6 goals in the last 2 games, completely different from the way they started the season.
Oakland started the month of April very strong. It's been a tough conclusion for the Roots. Miami the other way. They started April slow. They've been better as of late. Only one has a chance to go out on a high note here in the month of April. It's the Oakland Roots against Miami FC, and it's coming up in just a few moments right here on ESPN+.
It doesn't matter how hard you play, practice, or compete, as long as you do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots teamed up and took on food insecurity, empowered all athletes to improve physical health, and expanded health and wellness resources available to the residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community, together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
My name is Ed, and I live in San Leandro, California. I've always been concerned about being prepared and being on a medical baseline where I have a CPAP machine. I was wondering, will I be able to keep that thing going? I got an email from East Bay Community Energy, and they mentioned a rebate about getting an electrical generator. So I went for it. East Bay Community Energy has been great. They're doing a job to help our environment, and I think they're really supportive.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't many adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
If Damian Lillard accepted his spot at the end of the bench, he never would have been at the rec center before it opened. If he listened to those who overlooked him, he never would have heard his name called as a first-round pick. And if he let 6 all-star selections go to his head, he never would have had the heart to give back to the streets that shaped him. That's the fighting spirit. That's what makes a lion. Modelo, root for those with a fighting spirit.
Tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross, UCSF, and Modelo. Starting lineups are brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. You mentioned before, Jose, it's a little bit different look for Noah Delgado in Oakland. Here's how it shapes up.
Well, very dynamic, of course. Tactically they're set up basically the same way, but with Rito on the right side, that means the defensive responsibilities for him are not the same as when he plays through the middle. So with Tamacas behind him, expect Rito to be very aggressive and to get inside the box consistently.
On the other side for Anthony Pulis, it's a thinner roster this week. They had some injury issues, cross-country flight, short week. They still put out a pretty representative 11. The question is attrition as the game goes along.
Yeah, and listen, this could be 3 in the back, or most likely it will be 5 in the back as well, with Sekbers and Telfer moving back. Obviously at the top, they have firepower when it comes to counter-attack games, especially thinking about Sorto and moving faster through the wing on the left. Repetto and Valo, they're going to have to hold on to the ball a little bit more and wait for a run from Sorto on the left side.
A couple of other changes to the lineup this week for Oakland include seeing Nabil Hackshaw come in for the start. That international on that back line. So much depth they have on that back end, Oakland. And they're really flexing it here with 3 games in 8 days. Ricardo Fierro is the referee, and he sends us on our way at Cal State East Bay from Pioneer Stadium with Jose Rodriguez. I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us here tonight as Oakland in the black hosts Miami in the white and blue. Had a chance to chat with both head coaches ahead of this one, and Noah Delgado for Oakland talked a lot about staying the course. They've lost 3 straight in all competitions. It was a 2-1 loss against Hartford in the league, and then they lost 2-0 on the road against Loudoun in league play before a 1-0 loss to Sacramento in the Open Cup. So another sort of league match. They weren't matched up against an MLS team by any stretch like Miami FC was. Still a USL on USL matchup. They've lost 3 in a row, but through it all, film study of the analytics, the underlying metrics that they keep track of. They felt positive about everything and just felt unlucky in a couple of moments. So it's been a lot of preaching of staying the course, keeping things as they've been, and more often than not, things will go your way if the performances have looked like they have recently.
Well, I think, the most important thing for Oakland is they have a system in place. They have a system that everybody feels comfortable with. They have a system that everybody knows exactly what the responsibilities are. And that's obviously the first thing to do. Now, results sometimes are going to go your way. We're going to go through ups and downs throughout the season. And, I think tonight's a very important game for Oakland. They need to step it up a little bit and get off to a good start.
On the other side, Miami's a team that has been stout defensively. That's helped them to this start where they picked up a couple of points here and there because of all the draws. 4 of them. They've lost twice. They've won once through 7. Breaking out 4 goals against Vegas last week, 2 in the midweek in Open Cup against Inter Miami. Anthony Pulis feels they're on the right trajectory. We had a conversation, he and I, actually last year around this time. They had a similar stretch of games early in the year, struggling to score. They broke out, beat Charleston Battery 4-0. From there, the floodgates started to open. I asked him if he felt there were any similarities between that team last year and this current run here. He wanted to be careful in that conversation just because there are new faces, but in terms of the principles, he still felt the same way. A team built on the bedrock of good defending, and the offense eventually catches up, and he feels this team is on the precipice of that same type of breakout here. Doesn't necessarily expect it to come as easily, though, because they're stretched so thin in the personnel as Tamacas fires one, but well wide of target. So right now the personnel is more of an issue for Miami with the injuries, with the match congestion in terms of the schedule, but they feel like they're on the verge of that same breakout as they had last year.
Yeah, I think, the name of the game for them is, to try to score as much as they can. For most of the time during the season, they have been able to score early at times, and then they try to play defense all the way to the 80th, to the 85th minute, and that's where they continue to struggle and maybe tire legs. That's something that's playing a factor since they don't have a deeper roster as they did last year.
Florian Below plays it through, and Claudio Repetto went down, did not get the call from Ricardo Fierro. Head to Darek Formella for Oakland. Forced out wide by Paco Craig. Take a look now at the injury report here tonight. Brought to you by UCSF Health and UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital. A couple of players nicked up on both teams. Joaquin Rivas has a knee issue that'll keep him out a little bit longer for Miami, but they got better news than they, I guess, initially had hoped for in terms of Rivas, and hope to have him back come the early summer.
Yep. And Sorto, who came out injured in the last game, in an Open Cup game, he's back in the starting lineup, so that's good news. Joni Rodriguez is not me. I'm here. I'm ready. Joni is out for Oakland.
They said that he was on the brink of a return. Rodriguez are being more cautious than anything else, especially at this early phase of the season. Scored a couple of goals for them in the league and Open Cup. Hope to have him back soon. Last time you and I had a game, he scored a goal. It was against New Mexico, and it was right after we established that you and him are not cousins.
I did claim it again after he scored, of course.
Clementa dribbles himself into a corner there, and it's back for Blanchette. Little nudge in the back. It's won by Miami. And taken by Nane. Couldn't keep it in. Anthony Pulis. That should be a Miami throw. Made his voice heard. Initially was ruled Oakland's ball, but he corrected it.
Well, he's that type of coach. You know, he wants his players out there to fight for every single ball. So he's leading by example that way. He saw the call not going their way when it was pretty clear. So, you know, he did let the fourth official know.
Here's Duana. Along for Curtis Thorne. Thorne making his 5th start of the season tonight. Coming over from USL League One, where he spent the last 3 seasons with South Georgia Tormenta, won the title with them last year. Valo to Aiden Stanley. Inside Repetto. Valo again on the score sheet last week. Sorto scored an Open Cup and last week against Vegas. Had 2 goals all the last season for Miami. Now here goes Rito. This is what they missed last week, Oakland. Just get it and go. Eduardo Rito rolls it ahead to Formella. Tamacas. Nane. And Masoso. Oakland, a very possession-based team. They enjoy time on the ball. It might be difficult on a night like this for Miami, chasing for long periods of time, considering 3 matches in 8 days, cross-country travel, going 120 minutes, mind you, on Wednesday night against Inter Miami. Slip through to Formella, occupying that role as a number 9 tonight. Every game so far this season, it's either been Anwar Pelaez or Johnny Rodriguez. Formella has that in his bag of tricks. Played as the 9 a portion of time when he was with Sacramento prior to joining Oakland. And they slide him over from the left wing, and that enables, as you mentioned earlier, Eduardo Rito to just push up to that right wing. Lino Mafeka goes to the left side, and Rito can just worry about the attacking tonight, not so much the defending.
Well, absolutely. For Stanley playing on the left side for Miami, you're going to need help tonight, and you better let your teammates know, listen, this is not a 1v1 situation. If I'm in a 1v1 situation, I'm going to be in trouble, so you better come out and help. And that's part of the adjustment, you know, that needs to be there for Miami as soon as they saw the lineup and knowing that Rito is going to be aggressive tonight, that he'll be attacking more than ever, then they have to adjust immediately.
It's almost a bit of a cry back to some of the things we saw last year out of Oakland. More on that in a second as Valo has it off the Miami takeaway into Telfer. And Akshaw wins it. Akshaw taking down Telfer, who just made his debut recently with Trinidad and Tobago. 2 national team teammates going at it there. But last season we saw that elite wingback duo of Juan Azocar and Eduardo Rito for the Oakland Roots. Late in games, whenever they were trailing, they would always overload it, put them both on the same side. You're almost getting that here with Tamacas and Rito, pushing Rito further up the field. So instead of waiting for break glass in case of emergency, put Rito forward. They go with it from the jump tonight.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think, with Tamacas also you have a player that, he understands his defensive responsibilities, so he'll run back. And so, he has plenty of experience, has played in that position, in that situation as well, with good right wingers in front of him. So that's something very important, especially when you have a player behind. He needs to know when to go and when to stay.
Here's Stanley. Below. Akinyoti. He will cross a milestone tonight, Akinyoti, as long as he gets to the 75th minute. Entered tonight at 14,926 minutes played in his USL Championship career, so he'll cross 15,000 tonight. Barbier concedes the corner, first of the match here for Miami.
And obviously every opportunity for Miami to put numbers inside the box is one that they should really take advantage of when it comes to set pieces on the road early on. Get this chance in the 10th minute. Better make sure you put a good service in.
Aiden Stanley goes back a while with Anthony Pulis, played for him at St. Louis before going to Duke. He was on an amateur deal with St. Louis back in the day and brought him to Miami last year. He goes short off the corner. Stanley from further away. Repetto. Read and intercepted by Nane. Ahead to Rito, and this is where he's dangerous now in the new position tonight. He could just hang up top and wait to break out like this from one corner to the other. Miami's was defended successfully, and now Oakland has one. And corners tonight are powered by East Bay Community Energy. Red and green power at low rates. Visit ebce.org to find out more.
Well, a great opportunity here, and again, on the right side, it feels like, we're getting everybody ready for what's coming when we talk about Rito, because we understand what he's trying to do on the right side. He wins the 1v1 battle initially, and we're just talking about it. They're going to need help. There's no way you can stop Rito if it's just a 1v1. So Miami with a good job defensively that time.
Lindo Mafeka still wearing the mask as a precaution after a broken nose he suffered late in preseason. Swings in the corner. The glancing header is off target. Off balance as he met that one. Emra Clementa.
Yeah, but a good effort from Oakland. A beautiful ball coming in from Mafeka. And, it's not easy, especially, early on in the match as you try to be a little bit more patient, to be aggressive from set pieces. But we saw that from both teams, and it's only the 12th minute. So that might be a key factor in the game as we move on.
Miami from the jump against Vegas had offensive opportunities. The same could be said for Oakland in the game against Loudoun last week, that 2-0 loss. First 15 minutes, they had 8 shots, 1 on target, and very easily could have been up a goal or 2 with some of those golden opportunities. Only shot on target belonged to Brian Tamacas, and Noah Delgado, looking back on it, said they regret not scoring early. They're a team that is a really good front runner, because when you stretch out defensively against the likes of Rito, they can punish you, Oakland. Really important to score early and draw the team out, especially when you're going up against a team like Miami that is so sound and structured defensively. They were hoping to come out and get one tonight in the first half hour. Now that could be said of any team on any given day, but particularly Oakland today given the circumstances.
Yeah, it's going to be important for Oakland to get on the board as quickly as possible, because as the game goes on, and if it remains scoreless, Miami is happy with that. They're happy to take you to the 75th minute and then wait it out and see if they have a chance late in the game to take the 3 points.
Anthony Pulis always looking for victories. He just has that mentality, as any coach in his position should. But I think if you put some truth serum into him today and asked him if you'd be okay with a 0-0 draw cross country against the Roots, as Barbier lets it fly, it's deflected and punched over by Maguire. Took a deflection along the way, out for a corner.
What an effort from Barbier from way outside. I think there's a slight deflection there, but it's a beautiful shot, and what a save as well from Maguire, who gets the start here tonight. That's very important to be dynamic. Shots from outside the box, set pieces, build up. That's something that Oakland needs, especially at home.
Pulis might be okay with that 0-0, but it's going to be a long road to get there. If the early going is any indication again tonight from Oakland. Low driven ball from the corner by Diaz. Masoso looking for it. Back from Afeka, out again to Memo Diaz. Diaz has it headed away by Mark Segbers. And all the way back for Paul Blanchette, who didn't have much work to do in the Open Cup game on Wednesday. Faced one shot on target from Sacramento, and it was a goal that beat him. Delgado felt it was just a brief miscommunication. Nobody stepped to the man, and just a terrific bending shot to the far post. Below takes it away from Clementa just for a moment as Blanchette clears. On the left wing, Memo Diaz.
Even with Miami not enjoying a lot of possession early on, it feels like this is a good start for them. The one thing that you want to do if you're Oakland is just try to be patient. You can try to be aggressive, but as well try to be patient. Try to defend with the ball a little bit more, work out of the build-up. Just don't let Miami believe that they can actually get 3 points here tonight, because it feels like this is a situation where Oakland is pretty much in control. But as you move on inside the match, you start to forget about the travel, about the midweek game, and you start to concentrate a little bit more on, okay, here, we're just ready to compete here tonight.
At some point, it's just a soccer game.
Yeah, it's a soccer game, just like, you do it every weekend. And so, the mental part of the game is going to be important here tonight.
Happy to be where they are right now in the table. Miami given the slow start. Anthony Pulis said there's more than one way to look at that, all about perspective. You could look at it and say we've only lost 2 out of 7. You could look at it and say we've only won 1 out of 7. You can be happy that we're still in 6th place, which would be a playoff spot, or you can be disappointed that we let a few of those games get away, and we could just as easily be in 3rd place right now, even though we haven't been playing our best soccer. So it's all about perspective. But overall, happy with the way things have gone and the position they are launching pad-wise for what this could mean over the next month or so.
Yeah, I think both teams, they will be in the mix for the playoffs for sure. But, for them to take the next step, I think time's going to be very important, especially for Miami, because they need to put the pieces in place. Tackle there.
Might be a yellow card as well, and it will be. Nabil Hackshaw, first one in the book. First start for him tonight. Had only 3 appearances for 26 total minutes in the regular season. Had appeared in Open Cup as a starter, but first regular season start tonight.
Yeah, it's all about timing. It's Valog first to the ball. He knows the contact is coming. And obviously now for Hackshaw, just needs to be careful. And it's very early.
So much depth, so much talent on that back line for Oakland. Tariq Murad's been an all-league player who's won a championship in this league. He's on the bench, demoted tonight to a bench role. Part of that is just rotation with the fixtures. It's not necessarily a slight at any of these guys, but just making the point that they have that type of depth. Kevin Wright was a big acquisition for them in the offseason. He's on the bench.
Rotation needs to be a part of the game. I mean, you have to do it. Whether you want to rest some of the players or just, get some of your role players in shape, in rhythm of competition.
Stanley and Thorne standing over this free kick. It is Aiden Stanley. Blanchette read it the whole way and strongly comes through with it. And Oakland not only making those adjustments on the back line, but as we've talked about with Rito going further up the field, it gives them an extra way to get an extra man on the back end there. No, Delgado said he'd be creative in making sure that they're all able to get their minutes. I don't know if this is what we had in mind as a way to do it, but it's effective so far.
Yeah, I think, you know, it talks a little bit about the versatility of the roster, which is something that, you know, nowadays, especially with so much wing play, you know, it's so important to have a player in Rito that, yes, he can move forward easily, but he can play defense as well. And I think, you know, the same, we could talk about the same when it comes to Formella. Formella usually playing on the left side, now playing in the center as a striker. You know, it's part of the game nowadays. It's not like, you know, 30 years ago where you needed to play one position, you needed to be good at one position. That's not the case anymore.
Miami has a lot of positional versatility as well. The only problem is they don't have the quantity right now to allow that to shine through. And that's, again, why they look at this in a positive way as far as what's ahead. They know they're going to get guys back. They know they're going to get to a point where the schedule isn't as unfavorable to them in terms of the travel and the fixture congestion. And they know they're a principled defensive team, so it's only going to get better.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a little bit of time for them. But once they get players back, you know, they should be in the playoff mix. I have no doubt about Oakland because, you know, I think we already can see the talent that they have. And even when they rotate players, you know, they're still a solid team. So for Oakland, it's just about getting, you know, getting into a run, right? You know, lately it's not going their way. But once they start scoring, once they start winning games, I think they'll be in pretty good shape.
Headed away on the back end by Michael Craig. Here's Darek Formella. Has a seam. Mafeka tried to get it right back to Formella. Nane battling for it. Masoso wins it back. Tamakas. Rito couldn't hold it up with the back to goal. Tried to draw the foul at least. Didn't get the call, and it's all the way back for Blanchette. One was a common theme around the league today. Early window saw FC Tulsa and Sacramento tie with that score. Indy and Pittsburgh tied with that score. Memphis Louisville tied with that score. San Antonio Vegas are about to tie with that score. And that's just another microcosm of the parity that we're seeing around the league this year. I had a really good chat with Anthony Pulis about that this week. He said for the first time in his long history in this league, going back to St. Louis and now his time in Miami, he's never seen a year like this where it's as tight as it is in both conferences, particularly the East. He's felt that every year in his previous history in this league. There were 2 or 3 clear-cut teams at the top as Thorne gets called for the foul, and 2 or 3 clear-cut teams at the bottom. Those have gone away with the MLS 2 sides leaving for MLS Next Pro. But even at the top this year, there isn't a Tampa Bay or a Louisville that's just head and shoulders above the rest. Felt that any team can genuinely beat any team on any given day, whether that's East or West, and that makes a trip like this all the more difficult. But it also makes a trip like this all the more important because every one of those close matches in the East is a 6-point swing. Have a chance here coming to the West to just stack 3 points in your back pocket. So when you get back to those 6-point swings in the Eastern Conference, you have a little bit more to stand on. It's what they did last week when they beat Vegas 4-1. They could steal one again today. It would bode very well in the long term, even though it's still very early to be considering anything regarding the postseason. You still have to have it loosely in the back of your mind because when it's decision day and you're 2 points ahead of a team, maybe it was those 2 points you picked up here today at Pioneer Stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. You really have to think about it. You know, it puts pressure at times, but good pressure, right? You want to be successful. You're thinking about the playoffs. That's where you want to get. I think it's good at some point if you know how to manage it.
Barbier feeds. Memo Diaz continues his run. Diaz slides it inside for Nane. Nane and Mafeka back and forth. Here's Clementa. Formella, heavy touch. Flag stays down for Repetto. Looks inward for some help, now switches for Sorto. Looks like Sorto just misread that. He was ready to bring it down, it was over his head and forced to slow down the attack, play backward.
Yeah, it did seem like a very good ball. If you bring that down, go straight forward, you have a good opportunity that time.
Here's Segbers. Below, look at that ball over the top to Sorto. Will he keep it in? Sorto drives it to Repetto. And Tavakas just gets it out of harm's way. And Ryan Telfer breathing down his neck, a corner on the way for Miami. What a ball from below to start that whole motion.
A beautiful ball, but a lot of confidence as well from Sorto. Timing was perfect, bringing the ball in. It's Repetto he's a step behind. And that's why he's not able to finish. But if there is any confidence from this Miami FC team, it's coming from Sorto.
Corner snatched by Blanchette. Don't miss any of the action during this 2023 Roots season. Secure your Roots membership today, starting at less than $20 per game, and receive exclusive benefits. Call 510-488-1144 or visit oaklandrootssc.com/tickets for more information. Hackshaw looking long. And Stanley pleading for an offside flag, and he does get it. It's a little bit more careless than anything else there from Oakland to be offside on a diagonal like that from the back.
Yeah, I think, at this point, looking for long balls, it's not working for Oakland. I think they need to go through the middle a little bit more. I think they have the talent to compete. Obviously, it's not going to be an easy battle with Dawuna and Bolu Akinyote, two strong defensive-minded midfielders. But if you move the ball around them and you're able to get that past that middle of the field with the ball, working out of the build-up, I think you can be successful.
Rito flicks it in to Nane, has the switch on for Diaz, spots it, places it right onto his right foot. Memo Diaz for Lindo Mafeka. Diaz drives it low, it bounces through. And cleared out for the corner by Telfer. Exchanges a glance with Jake McGuire, the goalkeeper not happy with that decision from his left wing back.
Yeah, that's miscommunication right there that leads to a corner kick. Sometimes, those are the moments that can change a game. If Oakland gets a goal here, it's a completely different ball game. It comes out of a miscommunication, which shouldn't happen. Telfer under no pressure at all that time.
Last corner, Mafeka dropped it near post. Clementa glanced his header wide. Good ball again from Mafeka. Hackshaw couldn't get through the traffic and rise to meet it. Oh, Diaz clips it ahead for Mafeka. Flag stays down. Squared back for Diaz. Memo Diaz drives it far post into the hands of Jake McGuire.
A little bit better from Oakland. Ball movement starting to get a little bit better. I think, they're growing within the game and understanding a little bit, what Miami's trying to do, which, that's the tricky part of the game when you face Miami, because they're going to be defensive-minded, but once they start moving the ball forward, they can really hurt you as well in the counterattack.
Look at a counter now through Repetto. Repetto spent last year with Phoenix. Bit of a down year for him. Only a goal and an assist in 20 games. He's coming off a year where he had 9 goals, 3 assists in 24 games for Charleston. In 2021.
Yeah, this is a very important stretch for Repetto. Getting an opportunity here with no Kyle Murphy. Kyle Murphy did struggle last year to score early. They brought him in. And that basically turned the season around for Miami once Kyle Murphy started scoring. Well, similar situation now, but the other way, because it's now Repetto that needs to score for Miami.
Just his 4th start of the season now, Repetto has a goal and an assist. Lefebvre got there ahead of Thorne. And life a bit more difficult than the right center back expected, but Miami able to control it still. Accagnoni. For so long has been just one of the unsung heroes of this league, patrolling the defensive midfield, whether it was for Birmingham before Miami, a couple of good years with Nashville, part of the Red Bull teams that were good back in 2015, that era where they were competing for titles before they became what they were the last couple of years, the doormat of the Eastern Conference. Now tonight he'll cross 15,000 minutes in his USL Championship career, Bolo Accagnoni.
Probably one of the top signings for Anthony Pellis in his time with Miami FC.
In terms of doing the job he's asked to do and doing it well, absolutely. Absolutely.
And he fits the system perfectly. And obviously before he played with Speedy Williams, which, you know, it's very good help to have.
Right.
But yeah, he's, I think, one of the top signings for Anthony.
There have been moments where Velo has shown the quality that had him in MLS for a little while in his career. There's been moments where Christian Sordo has shown you those flashes and they want more of that from him going forward. But consistently, Accagnoni has just done his steady job in the defensive midfield.
Yeah, I think the problem in that position is that since you almost never score.
No scoring, no assists. People forget about you.
Yeah, you're not man of the match, and you know the stats are not very glamorous. I think the same we could say for Nane per se here with Oakland.
Free kick coming for the Roots. If you play that position in this sport, you have to just really love this sport, because you're never going to get the accolades and the attention a goalie gets for a big stop. You're not going to score like you just said. Even if you're a center back, you're not going to be on the score sheet. Let's take a look at the foul here against Velo. Even if you're a center back, you still might make that big last moment stop defensively and get the recognition. Nobody's going to recognize you as a 6, and some of the best players in this world, in this game, at that position, and N'Golo Kante, guys like that, you never hear about them, but take him off that 2018 French team. They're probably not World Cup champions, and it's the life of a 6. And now the life of Miami is defending a free kick from the Roots, and they do so easily. Second ball out to Hackshaw. And sends it on a run for the ball boys and ball girls behind the goal.
Well, that's the way to do it if you're Hackshaw. You just have to make sure if you try to score from there, you want to go for a top corner. You want to go for a top corner and do not give Miami FC an opportunity at the counter attack. So yeah, it might go over the bar, but you better have that than a counter-attack opportunity for Miami.
Formella couldn't settle it. All the way back to Maguire, making his first start of the season tonight. Tamakas whistled for the foul. Came in strong on Telfer.
They might be facing each other in just a few weeks, by the way, in Gold Cup. Trinidad and Salvador, it might be the case.
Could be possible.
Yeah, I think it's a good call. It's still a 50-50 ball, so if you're Tamacas, you really have to go for it.
National team's well represented here between these two clubs on the back line. Hackshaw, also with Trinidad. As you mentioned, Tamacas, El Salvador, Telfer, Trinidad and Tobago. On the bench for Oakland, Trayvon Reed has been in the mix for the Jamaican senior national team. Hasn't quite snatched a role yet. Has been called in.
And we're just talking about rotation. You know, that might become a factor when it comes to Gold Cup in July, and you have players called up, which is something that you want, of course, because you want your players to have an opportunity, and obviously that will raise the level of play as well at the club level.
That was one thing we spoke to Noah Delgado about this week. Asked him if he feels at some point he needs to just stick with an 11 so they gain just that cohesion you look for in a team going down the stretch, that comfort playing with each other, knowing their roles and comfort within those roles, where early in the season we've seen him, for one reason or another, making a lot of different tweaks to the lineup, whether it's trying to see a different look, whether it's players who are still waiting on their visas to properly come through, or injuries, or US Open Cup match congestion. Whatever it's just been a different starting 11 seemingly every week, with a couple of changes for Oakland, even throw some red cards in there.
Yeah.
And he felt that eventually he'd like to get there, but it's not on his radar right now because he knows, to your point, when Gold Cup rolls around, he's gonna have to mix and match and shuffle things. Now, after the Gold Cup, different story. Then you're looking at July, August, September, getting into the home stretch of the season. Maybe that's when you start to lock it down and find your core group of guys that you want to rely on as your starters. But it's the strength of this team is they can freely make those changes and not miss a beat anywhere in the lineup.
Yeah, that's why the work is done, before preseason. Have a grouping that you know that is going to be there whenever players are missing for international duty. So, it's not an easy task, but, I think as of right now, Oakland, they have been able to do a very good job.
Florian Below leading the counter. Repetto would have been offside, but Clementa intercepted. Oakland Roots and Anthem Blue Cross 2023 jerseys are here, and they're selling fast. Purchase yours by visiting shop.oaklandrootssc.com. Tamacas looking through the lines for Formella.
By the way, that's a very good ball to start. Very good idea, and a good example of communication early on between two players that might have not played a lot of matches together, Tamacas and Formella, but the communication, the eye contact, and knowing that you're gonna go for that ball, that's very important, because in a month or two, that's gonna be even better.
Talk about injecting that truth serum into Anthony Pulis earlier in the match as far as what a 0-0 result would be tonight. If you were to inject that same serum into Noah Delgado, I think as the year goes along, this 11 that we see today is probably more in line with what he has in mind as his best 11. Seeing Hackshaw, Trinidad and Tobago international out there, seeing Tamacas in there, pushing Rito further up the field. This is more closely, I guess, something that resembles what his best 11 would be. You and I were chatting a bit about it. This is a way to get your best 11 out there talent-wise, just about. Maybe a tweak here or there depending on the matchup. This is something to think about, this unit out here today for Oakland.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because when you bring Tamacas in, you know he's going to play. You know Rito is going to play. I'll let you take this one. Oh, there it is. So, how are they going to play together? How are you going to group them in the sense that they can be successful for this team? I think tonight we're getting that first indication.
Question is, will it lend itself to a result? 3 straight losses in all competitions. 2-1 against Hartford, 2-0 against Loudoun, 1-0 against Sacramento. That one came in the Open Cup. Part of a weird scheduling quirk here for the Roots, where they had 5 straight league matches against the Eastern Conference. They'll wrap that up next week against Birmingham. Late foul call here by Ricardo Fierro.
Yeah, there were some appeals coming out of Miami bench for a yellow card. We'll take another look here. Stanley gets the ball. No, I don't think that's a yellow card. I think that's either just being aggressive for the ball, and Stanley trying to sell it that time, but you know Rito, you know he's gonna he's going to go for it. You know, it's right in front of him. The ball that plays right in front of him, there's no way to stopping him.
And he only has one speed.
Yeah.
He can't slow it down. We'll run all the way out for an Oakland throw. Select, the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit www.us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, player's choice. Fed ahead to Telfer. Below for Stanley. Anthony Pulis, bottom of your screen, directing traffic, trying to move Stanley further up, but he fed it inside to Velo. Maybe he'll take that space this time. It's there for him down that left side. Forces it into the traffic, wins it back with the hustle. Velo opens up, looking through for Repetto. He felt he was offside, took himself out of the play, sheepishly went toward it anyway, and the flag came up.
Yeah, he knew it immediately as the ball came through. He knew he was in an offside position. Need to get back a little bit quicker, trying to get involved. As it stands right now, Miami is doing an okay job whenever they have the ball to move it through the wings, but they just haven't been able to connect with Repetto. A similar scenario on the other side as well for Oakland. They're playing a similar game, both teams. They just haven't been able to find that connection or feed the ball to the strikers where they need it to be.
All the way back for Maguire. Second fiddle last year to Connor Sparrow until late stage of the season where he took over the job and led them into the playoffs. This year he's been behind Zendejas. It's been a good start to the season for Adrian Zendejas, who had bounced around some MLS teams and USL teams the last couple of years. Maguire, his last real run as a starter as the unquestioned #1, came in the season prior to last year, 2021, when he was with North Carolina FC in USL Championship before they moved down to USL League One for the 22 season. Two veteran capable goalkeepers for Miami. It's the first crack at it tonight for Maguire. Although playing behind this back line and this structure is something that will probably make any goalkeeper happy. We are through 41 minutes and change, just one shot on target faced, and that's not unique to this game for Miami. That is their calling card, that defensive structure and shape. They don't allow much to anybody.
Yeah, you know, that's that's how they were built, and at times it's been successful, but at times it's been challenging because it takes so much out of the offensive part of the game, and they just have to know what their style is and deal with it at times, because that will create frustration when you don't score. You feel like you're doing everything right for 80 minutes, and the opponent scores in the last 10 minutes, and you feel like you're losing games when you're playing well defensively. That's frustrating.
So far, their scout of Oakland has been spot on. And Pulis said that this team has a better blend of athleticism and technical footballers than just about anybody in this league. Very well-balanced team. They know they're going to have to be perfect in their defensive setup. Nearly a crack at it here as Tamakas barrels through. Back out for Rito. So far, 42 minutes in, they have maintained that defensive integrity. They've dealt with the athleticism and technical ability of Oakland as Stanley blocks this shot from Tamakas. That could change at a moment's notice for this Oakland team. I'm not sure which foul Fierro called. There was contact outside the box for Miami and contact closer to midfield. Could have called either one. Either way, it's Miami's possession on a free kick in their own half.
For the first time in 43 minutes, we've seen Tamakas and Rita combine on the right side, and it was a beautiful give and go. Unfortunately for Oakland, it just didn't have enough room to bring a crossing or take a good shot. There's the ball from Matsuso as well, and again, it's Tamakas inside the box, and to be clear, you know, Tamakas is a defensive-minded player, but that tells you, that explains to you a little bit the importance of having a three-man backline because he's able to move forward, create chances offensively, and still Oakland will stand their ground defensively against Miami FC.
Below. Good step by Hackshaw. Have to be careful on that yellow, and he timed it perfectly. Nane is looking wide for Diaz. This gets to halftime scoreless. I think both coaches will be happy with the way the first half has gone. For very different reasons. Oakland controlling the play, finding 5 shots in this first half against a very structured Miami team, and Anthony Pulis on the other side very happy that they've kept the 0 and haven't allowed any really good looks for Oakland. Just 1 shot on target, and it was a half-hearted attempt at best.
Yeah, I think at this point, you know, it's about how can you change the game tactically, and for Noah Delgado, obviously, you know, a lot of work just because, you know, they are at home and they should be going for 3 points tonight. And Anthony Pulis is very comfortable as it stands right now with the scoreless draw.
So there will be no added minutes here at the end of this first half. Good rhythm to it. No breaks in the action for any lengthy stoppages. A whistle coming momentarily from Ricardo Fierro. Is there one last opportunity here for Oakland? Off the takeaway. Rolled ahead to Rito. Taken wide on his less favorable foot, that left foot of his. And won well by Paco Craig. Cleared out toward midfield. And a late foul call against Rito. Took out Craig outside the bounds of the field. Miami captain not happy as he gets to his feet. And this is moments after Rito had that other foul at midfield. Craig certainly pleading for a yellow, and it looks like one last warning.
Yep. And the referee's pointing to the last foul, and you know it's going to take one more for Rito, just to be clear.
They'll have halftime to cool off here. There is the whistle to end this first half. Scoreless between Oakland and Miami. Some good, some bad from both in that first half. And both probably, like you said before, happy with this result for now and make adjustments into the second half.
Yeah, I think there was good rhythm to the game. I think the challenge for both sides is to find the opportunity inside the box. That's the one thing that's missing. Obviously, you know, for Oakland, they have been able to take shots outside the box, corner kicks, set pieces. It's about finding room inside the box and take advantage of those opportunities.
A cross-conference matchup here between Oakland and Miami. It's the 4th in a row for Oakland, 2nd in a row for Miami, and it's scoreless through 45. See what the second half has in store. Miami hasn't yet registered a shot, nothing offensively, but that defensive integrity has been maintained. It's their calling card. Can it get them to a result tonight? 3rd game in 8 days for both of these teams coming off of losses in the Open Cup. Hoping for 3 points tonight in league play. We're back with the Anthem halftime show in just a moment.
It doesn't matter how hard you play, practice, or compete, as long as you do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots teamed up and took on food insecurity, empowered all athletes to improve physical health, and expanded health and wellness resources available to the residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community, together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't many adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
If Damian Lillard accepted his spot at the end of the bench, he never would have been at the rec center before it opened. If he listened to those who overlooked him, he never would have heard his name called as a first-round pick. And if he let 6 all-star selections go to his head, he never would have had the heart to give back to the streets that shaped him. That's the fighting spirit. That's what makes a lion. Modelo, Root for those with a fighting spirit.
The mission of Fertile Groundworks is of teach, grow, give. Teach people how to grow food for themselves, grow it, and then give it away to people who need it. We grow about 25,000 pounds of food a year. We also operate something we call the Sustainable School Garden Program. Teachers ask us for help setting up a garden on their own campuses. East Bay Community Energy was nice enough to give us $2,500 that we were able to focus on one of our school gardens, and I am truly grateful.
Welcome into the Anthem Halftime Show, brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. Take a moment here to look back on the week that was in U.S. Open Cup for both of these teams and look ahead for USL Championship in the next round. It was the NorCal Derby between Oakland and Sacramento, a very even, cagey matchup between these two teams. There were hardly any opportunities either way. Took one shot on target for Sacramento. They scored on it, and it was enough for the 1-0 victory.
Well, sometimes that's the way it goes, especially in comp competition, because it's an elimination game every single time you're out there. So, you know, for Oakland, obviously, you know, a little bit of a rotation as well when it comes to the players that were on the field to start this game. Unfortunately, it just didn't go their way.
As they sort of went through this game, it was both teams really just feeling each other out, and Sacramento just couldn't really find anything offensively the whole night. Again, just one shot on target, but it was one defensive lapse by Oakland that allowed them to find a way in, get that goal. Paul Blanchette, there wasn't much he could do about it. A couple of looks here and there off the set pieces, and then the goal finally came for Nick Rossi. Nobody steps to him, curls it far post. Nothing Blanchette could have done. Upset at his back line, and it finished 1-0 in favor of Sacramento. It did not finish 1-0, certainly, in the Miami Classico. Anything but that, Jose. This one was a lot of fun to watch, but Miami FC comes up short in penalties.
Yeah, over 12,000 fans, by the way, a club record for Miami FC. Off to a good start with Sorto, you know, good setup as well, good finish. But, you know, it's about closing out at times for Miami FC in 2023, and that's what they were not able to do against Inter Miami.
In regulation or in extra time, there's Schneider Borgelin scoring at the end of regulation. DeAndre Yedlin here, just a complete misplay by the World Cup player for the United States. And then at the last moment, 119, Ryan Saylor on the header. So you saw Borgelin on the header and the regulation. This is one of the last plays of extra time. And then in penalties, Telfer, his miss did not help the cause. Inter Miami ends up winning it. Kamal Miller just came across in a trade with Montreal, and this team was able to use that as a springboard. Actually won in MLS play as well. So you talk about these different teams using Open Cup as springboards into league play. Here are the matchups for the USL teams, 8 of them remaining in the round of 32.
Yeah, obviously, you know, an interesting matchup right there with Inter Miami and Charleston. Charleston doing really, really well this year. So something to think about. How about Monterey Bay and LAFC? Frank Yallop, he did it against San Jose. Will he do it against LAFC?
He might. That LAFC team has a lot going on right now between Champions League, League Play, Leagues Cup coming up soon. So a lot of congestion. Who knows what that roster will look like for LAFC, but my eyes go to Sac Republic. The cards were in their favor. They're hosting Colorado Rapids, looking to get back to the final where they fell last year to Orlando in the round of 32 again this year, and hosting at Hart Health Park where they just beat Oakland 1-0. We're back in just a few moments for more action between Oakland and Miami. It's the kids' turn right now during the halftime festivities. Seems like they're scoring a few more goals on those mini goals that we saw in the first 45. We're hoping for some goals on the big goals when we return.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
It doesn't matter how hard you play, practice, or compete, as long as you do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots teamed up and took on food insecurity, empowered all athletes to improve physical health, and expanded health and wellness resources available to the residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community, together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
Welcome back into the Anthem halftime show. Scoreless between Oakland and Miami. We'll step aside here for a moment and take a look around USL Championship with some news and notes. Hard to believe the calendar is about to turn to May in just a couple of days, and some big news at the end of April. Jake Edwards, thank you for all the work you have done in this league over the last 8 years as president. Stepped down this week. Wish him the best in whatever's next for him. You've seen this league grow so much over the last few years, Jose.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an incredible job, and the next step is to keep the league growing. And I think if you look at Open Cup, that's a pretty good sign right there. 8 teams for USL still in competition, and we saw already what Sacramento was able to do last year. We'll see if it happens again in 2023.
If you look below that, ESPN2, it's a lot more network television for this league. That's something you couldn't really say way back at the beginning when Edwards took over. So whether it's success in Open Cup and just the growth of the league in terms of television and social media, all this, just such a big formative period era for this league over the last 8 years, and can't thank him enough. And again, wish him the best of luck going forward. Here's a look at the upcoming schedule around the league. See an interesting one coming up for Miami against Birmingham on Wednesday night.
It is a quick turnaround, right? I mean, you fly to Oakland, then you have to come back home and face Birmingham, one of the top teams in the East as well. So very difficult matchup for them.
Going east to west to east again, and that's again after 120 minutes of the Open Cup against Inter Miami. So not easy for this Miami FC team. Take a look at the out-of-town scores brought to you by Visit Oakland. Get out on the town and visit Oakland to explore arts, culture, and world-class cuisine. Anything here stick out to you?
Well, San Antonio 1-1 against Las Vegas. I think that's something to watch, and we'll see what happens with Monterey and RGV.
San Antonio and Vegas. Again, Vegas last week had that 4-1 loss against Miami.
Right.
They're right back on track. They had 4 draws before that loss to Miami. Right back to another draw. So they are the most even-keeled team in the league. And so far, it's actually not a bad thing because Vegas has been on the road for this long stretch to begin the season. So they'll have a lot of home games on the back end. It was a 4-1 win for Miami last week against that Vegas team. Can they find that same scoring touch in the second half? Right now, scoreless against the Roots. Second half is on the way.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't many adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Wouldn't it be great to have delicious, healthy meals delivered right to your door? No planning, shopping, or prepping. And what if your delivery was full of plant-based, fresh ingredients that truly nourish and fuel your body? Try Thistle. Our in-house chefs create a new menu each week for you to choose from before it arrives ready to eat. No prep needed. And for a limited time, you can save $100 off your first 4 weeks. So go ahead and autopilot your diet. Get started today at jointhistle.com.
My name is Ed, and I live in San Leandro, California. I've always been concerned about being prepared and being on a medical baseline where I have a CPAP machine. I was wondering, will I be able to keep that thing going? I got an email from East Bay Community Energy, and they mentioned a rebate about getting an electrical generator. So I went for it. East Bay Community Energy has been great. They're doing a job to help our environment, and I think they're really supportive.
Tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross, UCSF, and Modelo. Take a look now at highlights from half number one, brought to you by UCSF. 13th minute. Again, there weren't too many opportunities in this half for either team, but one of the best ones comes on the strike from distance by Danny Barbier.
Yeah, it was a very good shot, and probably the lone opportunity in the first half for Oakland. The match has been played through the wings. There's been a lot of action, but the connection inside the box, once again, it's just lacking for both teams. 32nd minute here, set piece opportunity. The ball, it's not clear ideally because you usually want to go through the wings. If you're Packer Craig, you want that one back. But still, the shot from Hawkshaw was just over the bar. The main thing at that point, if you're Hawkshaw, it's just make sure there's not a counterattack opportunity out of that play.
And that tells you the story of the first half. We showed you two highlights. They were both shots from distance that went over the crossbar. And the stats back that up. 5 shots to nothing, 1 shot on target to nothing. Not a lot going on offensively in that first half. What's it going to take for either of these teams to break through here in the second, Jose?
Well, I think it's an Oakland, to be honest. I think for Miami FC, it's a good result. It's scoreless. It's what they want, what they need at this point. For Oakland, they have to step it up a little bit, be a little bit more aggressive, move the ball maybe a little bit faster, run into space, move well without the ball, and they'll find an opportunity. Once Oakland is able to find a chance, they put it in the back of the net, it's a completely different ballgame.
And maybe this is an indication of where their heads are at going into the second half, to the point you just made. Jose Donaciano subs in for Joseph Nane right out of the gates here to begin half number 2. And we're underway from Cal State East Bay at Pioneer Stadium in Hayward, California. With Jose Rodriguez, I'm Joe Malfa. Delighted to have you with us tonight as Oakland hosts Miami. A substitution powered by East Bay Community Energy. Visit ebce.org to find out more. Had an interesting chat with Noah Delgado about Donaciano in the build-up to this game. They felt that he would have a role on this team coming into the season, yes, but they didn't necessarily know exactly how expansive that role would be. And Noah Delgado has been very pleased with the quick progress Donaciano has made, snatching a larger role. And he just gives them such an interesting dynamic in that midfield. He's defensive in nature, but has that change of pace and that instinct of when to push forward, join the attack out of the midfield, and help foster the offense as much as he helps defensively.
Oh man, he's so much fun to watch. He's so much fun to watch, and he has the capability of becoming a box-to-box player, consistent box-to-box player, which is pure gold as it stands right now in the world of soccer or football, as you want to call it. For Donaciano, it's as important to be effective in the middle of the field. For this Oakland team, it's that combination with Matsoso. Those two players can really change this game tonight for Oakland.
Joseph Nane brings a calming presence, more defensive in that midfield for the Roots. He's their leader, he's their captain, and he's so important to them, has been for a couple of seasons now. Whenever they've had a big game, be it regular season or postseason, Nane starting. He is a fixture in that lineup, but at his age now, up at 35, they're a little bit more cautious in how they stretch him out, and it's nice to have Masoso and Donaciano as two terrific options in that same position. Now Rito drives it centrally, nobody making that back post run, and it's harmlessly through for a goal kick.
Well, early opportunity here in the second half, and a little bit more quick to the ball, it seems, for the Oakland midfielders. And for Rito as well, immediately trying to find that connection. This is probably the second ball within the entire match that a winger for Oakland is looking for Formella inside the box. And as quick as possible as she can move the ball fast and look for Formella, that will limit the amount of time that the Miami center backs have to recover.
I wonder when in this second half the heavy legs might start to take their toll on this Miami team, coming off of a game last weekend, of course, a game in the midweek, 120 minutes in the Miami Heat against Inter Miami. Cross-country travel. They were on a 6-hour flight yesterday from Miami over to the Bay Area. Have a game coming up on Wednesday against Birmingham. Had a couple of players that they just had to pick up and put on the bench for this game here to have somewhat of a bench. They have 6 available players, 5 outfield players. 2 are not traditional first-teamers for this Miami team, a trialist and an academy player. So for all intents and purposes, they really have 3 reliable options on the bench. You have 5 subs, so they can't really, in good conscience, make all 5 of them unless they want to trust a trialist or an academy player tonight. It's a testament to the injuries they've had and the tight schedule they've had. Where Oakland can dip into the bench at halftime right away with Donaciano, and a few more times in the second half to bring on fresh legs, to not miss a beat. You wonder where Miami gets to a point that they say, can we just get out of here 0-0? Clementa wide for Rito. Took a deflection all the way through for Mafeka. Settled Mafeka, it's blocked. Chance here again for Diaz. Blasted over the bar, and it's out for a goal kick. Oakland wanted a penalty. Referees got it spot on. Arms were tight to the chest there in the box for Miami.
Well, you know, it's important to notice that Oakland is a lot more faster into getting opportunities finished. And this time, I think, I don't know, maybe a good call from the referee. We'll need a better angle to make a decision on that one. Although it doesn't matter because the referee already made the one that really counts. But still, as everybody was waiting for the penalty call, Diaz had a clear chance as well in the back end of the play.
Looked like Curtis Thorne got the arms into the body, and that just might be some frustrations boiling over for the Roots. They've been hard done by the officiating the last couple of weeks. You go back to their home game 2 weekends ago against Hartford. It was an interesting scenario where a free kick was blasted into the wall, which led to a penalty for a handball, but the yellow card was given straight up to the wrong guy. And the guy who should have gotten it would have been sent off, and Oakland would have been a man up for a half an hour at the end of that game. It was missed. And then last week, as Mafeka swipes this one inside, last week they had a very soft penalty call go against them, where there was a lot of simulation on the dive from Loudon, and it was called for a penalty. Made it 1-0 Loudon early on. Owen Delgado in our chat aired some of those frustrations, knows the referees are human and there's no VAR, and you just have to move past it. He wasn't blaming the losses on those calls. He felt it was their own fault that they were even in that position against Loudon instead of being up a couple of goals early given the chances they had. And that's a situation where you see another close call and the frustrations may be boiling over after a couple of games in a row where the calls haven't really gone Oakland's way.
And Joe, to be fair, Loudon is a completely different team.
Terrific team this year.
I mean, it's not, if you haven't watched Loudon and you're thinking, okay, Oakland, they should have won that game, it's a different team.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry if I mischaracterized that. Anyway, Noah Delgado was not blaming those losses on the referees. He tipped the cap to Hartford, tipped the cap to Loudon, knows they have to be better in the final third. Loudon, to your point, is terrific this year.
Yeah.
Complete makeover from last season. I think Oakland's ready to start facing Western Conference teams again, by the way. Hartford, Loudon, 2 losses. Now this Miami game here. Birmingham coming up.
I'll tell you what, they're getting closer and closer. You know, the way they are moving the ball right now, look at it, just a lot faster, I should say. They're finding a lot more room, switching sides. They're getting closer.
The games against the Eastern Conference team started very well. 3-0 victory over Indy 11 on the road. Mafeka into Formella, and back again. This time it's Donaciano's turn to find some space, wiggling through the middle, and Sorto clears. Now to Formella, Mafeka, and Tamakas. Rito tries to turn the corner, draws the corner. In the 53rd minute, it's an East Bay Community Energy corner kick for the Roots. They're knocking on the door.
That's a good matchup right there for Rito with Telfer. Telfer, don't get me wrong, I mean, there's a lot of experience in him, and but Rito is a lot faster than him. So if he puts the ball forward, there's no way of getting it.
Rito's a lot faster than just about anybody in this league.
You're right about that, yeah.
It's the in-swinger from Mafeka. Loose for Donaciano, ricocheting around. Sorto looking to lead the counter, missed the ball. Malone nods it back out towards Sorto, but Rito is there and shields it out for an Oakland throw.
There's the corner kick coming in. The ball that bounces right through the middle. Donaciano takes the shot, but it looks like is it Harshaw who gets to the ball? I'm not 100% sure, but still, you know, again, out of set pieces this time, just a little bit more aggressive, finding a little bit more room, winning the second ball. The little things that continue to make a difference in the game.
That's exactly what Noah Delgado was conveying in our chat ahead of this matchup. They've shown the data, they've shown the film to the players, trying to reiterate to them that they just have to stay the course. Chipped ahead to Diaz, but too long. Human nature to see the results not going your way and feel like you need to alter something in the performance to alter something in the results. But they have truly just been preaching to stay the course. Everything is there. A couple of bad bounces here or there, unlucky calls against them, as I outlined before. They do need to clean things up in the attacking third. They were fully aware of that. Noah Delgado pointed out that last game against Loudoun, they had 16 shots, only 3 of those were on target, and that's just not good enough efficiency-wise and in terms of creating the opportunities. But everything else is there. Just have to keep doing what they're doing, and over time they feel the performances will lead to better results. We're seeing that again here today. They're controlling this, they're creating opportunities and good looks forward, but they haven't fine-tuned things in the attacking third. Have to see Michael Lawrence enter the match for Miami. Another Nova Southeastern product. That's 2 out there on the field. Local Division II school in the area. Other being Curtis Thorne. Lawrence comes in for Claudio Repetto.
Well, you know, it's about opportunities at times in this game, right? You know, when it feels like everybody's out and the team is struggling, there's always somebody waiting for an opportunity, and that's the case for Lawrence here tonight.
Trying to feed him through right away. Anthony Pulis would love it if Lawrence is able to step up here, take control, find a goal. Given the circumstances and the difficulties right now in navigating the injuries on this roster, sometimes a player just comes out of the woodwork and gives you exactly what you need.
And he knows it's going to be a battle, and he'll probably have 1 or 2 chances, if any, and he's going to have to be effective in front of goal. So a lot of responsibility for a young player, not a lot of experience at the professional level. But for Oakland, you have to be careful in the counterattack game.
I'm glad you said if any, because so far there haven't been any.
Yeah, they
still
haven't had it.
0 shots, not on target, 0 shots period right now still for Miami, 56 minutes into this one.
But then again, that's how they like it. That's how they like it.
I don't know if that's how they like it.
I mean, they like to take 1 shot and win the game. I mean, they'll be fine with that.
It looks like a last touch off of Diaz out for a goal kick. I get what you're saying. If they have
Especially
1
tonight.
shot, hey, if they have 1 shot and it's a 1-0 victory on that one shot, they'll take it. But if you ask Anthony Pulis if he's happy with no shots through 56 minutes,
Well,
I don't think he's going to be too happy about that.
Yeah, he wouldn't tell us that, but I'm 100% sure that if the score remains the way it is, I mean, he'll be happy with it, even if they don't have any shots because of the circumstances following this game. I mean, they have another game on Wednesday as well.
I agree with you on that note. He's still not going to be happy with no shots in the match. He'll be happy to have given up no goals in the match and okay with not scoring any, but to have no shots, that's something that won't sit well with him. Naciano, too long for Masoso. Another good crowd here at Pioneer Stadium on the campus of Cal State East Bay. 4,665 for the Oakland Roots. It's their temporary home. They've migrated here from Laney College. There's some issues over there at that venue, and they're looking ahead now. Proposed a lease of the Malibu lot, which is near the Oakland Coliseum, to build a temporary stadium and eventually a permanent one. They've grown so quickly in their fan base. Drive from distance here in the arms of Blanchett. So there you go. They have one shot and one shot on target.
There you go.
Getting closer and closer now for Akinyoti. Again, the 74th minute. Bolo Akinyoti will eclipse 15,000 minutes in his USL Championship career. On a night like this, barring an injury or a red card with a limited bench for Miami, would imagine he's going the full 90 unless there are any unforeseen circumstances.
Oh, yeah.
So he'll get to that threshold tonight.
Yeah, you know, there are players that they probably came in with, a knock, an injury, a small injury, some discomfort, tired, but they knew they would have to go the full 90.
They knew it would be a grind, and they've gotten through nearly an hour of it, still scoreless. Sorto cuts in. Still Sorto on the left foot. Lays it off now. Chipped ahead. Below barreling through. Commits the foul. All of a sudden, Miami springing to life with a couple of counters here.
Well, they have enjoyed a little bit of possession in the last 5 minutes. And that's not only important for them in terms of getting their first shot on goal, creating a little bit more action through the build-up, but it's more important for them because it gives their defenders a breather. They were under constant pressure in the first 10 minutes of the half. Now things are starting to slow down a little bit.
You can't lose a game 0-0. And for Miami, they have the hard part that still needs solving, and that's scoring goals. Ask any coach, that is still the hardest part of this sport. Finding players who could score goals and finding the form that leads you to those goals. But you can control your shape, you can control your assignments defensively, and your discipline and your hard work in that regard. And they have that certainly under control. They have it through the first 7 games of the season. You could look at it glass half full or half empty. They've only won once, they've only lost twice. They have 4 draws in there.
And they are still missing Chapman Page, which, you know, it's their starter pair with in the center back position with Paco Craig. So they're still missing players, but that's the solid foundation that they have defensively.
Get you some more final scores from around the league. Earlier today, Tampa Bay beat Detroit 1-0. FC Tulsa and Sacramento tied 1-1, as did Indy and Pittsburgh, as did Memphis and Louisville, as did San Antonio and Las Vegas 1-1. A recurring theme today. Just went final because of some weather delays on the East Coast. Charleston lost 2-1 at home to Colorado Springs. It is their first loss of the season. It means the only unbeaten team remaining is Sacramento Republic. New Mexico a 3-1 victory over Orange County. Chance here for Segbers to get a ball in, and it's headed away by Oakland, only as far as Dewana. Now Velo trying to play through the lines to Lawrence, but cleared away by Hackshaw. Rito ranging forward, and he drew a late foul call. Elsewhere right now in the Western Conference, Monterey Bay and RGV are scoreless. El Paso has a 1-0 road lead over San Diego. Phoenix has a 2-1 home lead over Loudoun. And of course, we're still scoreless here beyond the hour mark with Jose Rodriguez. I'm Joe Malfa, happy to have you with us tonight. On the campus of Cal State East Bay at Pioneer Stadium, as the Roots host Miami. Masoso. Wide for Rito. Rito for Donaciano. Collision in the box. Brought down by Diaz. Foul against Donaciano.
Well, getting back into what we saw early in the second half, it's going to be important for Oakland, and no surprise, it's Rito once again on the right side. It's a 50-50 ball to me, but usually, when it comes to of a collision inside the box, the call will favor the defender, so I'm not surprised by that. But instead, I'll take into account that, Oakland is trying to get back into it. They had a good start to the second half, but they need to be a little bit more consistent offensively for them to be successful here tonight.
Tamacas continues his run. The defenders around him, in the end, had nowhere to go. And it's back for Clementa. Donaciano's made an impact since coming on at the half. Here he is again. Miracoze Donaciano. Good tackle put in to win the ball by Akinyoti. 10 minutes away from 15,000 in his career. And again, those are the unsung plays that don't show up on any stat line that now spring a counter the other way for Miami. Sorto for Segbers, cutting in. Mark Segbers trying to get it back for Sorto. Here's Dewana. Velo gets it ahead for Telfer in front towards Sorto. Velo tries it. Ricochets back to him. Here's Lawrence. It's blocked. Out again for Dewana. Punched over by Blanchette. Best flurry of the night for Miami. Nearly stealing a goal. Out for a corner.
My goodness. They probably let it all out in one play. The energy from Miami FC here moving forward. And Oakland standing their ground, blocking every single shot. And that's exactly why you have a quality goalkeeper like Blanchette. What a save that was. A beautiful shot as well. Top corner, Joe.
He didn't have much to do in Open Cup against Sacramento. Just faced one shot on target. That's just the second shot on target he's faced tonight. But when called upon, he's answered the bell. Now from the corner, Stanley drives it in, punched away by Blanchette. Out for a throw on the far side for Miami. And this is another reason why Noah Delgado hasn't wanted to change too much despite the results lately. They haven't been conceding from the open run of play. They haven't really been conceding much at all. And that's whether it's goals or even shot attempts. They've been stout, but Miami finds a breakthrough.
This is not what we expected, to be honest, from Miami FC, especially in the second half. I mean, first half, you could have thought, okay, they're going to bring in some energy, try to score early, and go ahead from that. But second half, Miami, they're putting some good plays together here and creating a lot of trouble for Oakland.
Tabaka shields it off. And that is out for a goal kick. We'll have another look now at the attempt here. Just struck so well by Dewana.
Yeah, it's Lawrence initially. The shot is blocked. And then for Dewana, just the opportunity, plenty of room for him to move the ball to the right side. It takes the perfect shot, to be honest. But it's matched with the perfect save as well from Blanchette.
Playing out of the back here off the goal kick. Akshaw sends Lawrence flying.
That's experience right there.
Welcome to your Miami debut, Michael Lawrence. Against the player in Akshaw, who's been capped 30 times for Trinidad and Tobago. Egbers, who started that attack down the right side just moments ago. Some belief now from Miami. Right on cue, it's won back by Oakland. All the way back for Blanchette. But look at the territory for Miami here. They're stepping up in a way they didn't step up in the first half, getting bodies into the attacking half on the high press, trying to force Oakland into a mistake and limit their ability to go forward. We just didn't see that from them in the first half, Jose.
Absolutely. We're coming into this game, with the argument that Miami's tired, Miami's missing quite a few players, and Miami's here to survive the game. They got nothing to lose. Well, in the second half, they have been able to show that first off, they have the talent, and they are ready to compete here tonight.
Rito, end line, back to Formella, blocked in front, loose for Diaz, and blocked again.
Similar situation to what we saw on the other side of the field. It's a good ball from Rito on the right side. Formella initially, not a clean shot that time. It appeared that the ball was going wide as well, but then again, Memo Diaz just unable to finish.
Keep it quickly, playing it all the way back out to midfield. Mafeka, Diaz. Mafeka left it there for Donaciano. Tamacas. Rito going end line, shielded out well for a goal kick. Oakland Roots fans, the next home game is a doubleheader, May 13th, featuring the first Oakland Soul home game at 5 p.m. and then your Oakland Roots at 8 p.m. Buy tickets to either game and be allowed to attend both. Secure your tickets by calling 510-488-1144 or by visiting oaklandrootssc.com. They're very excited. Yeah, they're very excited to get Oakland Soul up and running. USLW League. They've announced some signings for that initial team here this season. It includes some former World Cup players for various countries. On the women's side, we've seen all the good things they've done in just a couple of years with the Roots. You know that the Soul is going to be a first-class organization all the same. Sorto cuts inside, has some space. Sorto saved by Blanchette. He's in form right now. You can't give him that type of space. Scored last week against Vegas, scored midweek against Inter Miami. Nearly had another here.
Well, if there's one player in this scouting report for Miami FC that you cannot give him those type of opportunities, especially this week, is the Salvadorian Cristian Sorto. But that tells you a little bit about the importance of moving without the ball, creating space through the middle. It was through the move of Valo on the right side. Two defenders went for him, and that created a lot of room through the middle for Sorto to take that shot. But once again, Blanchette, not an easy save at all. The ball bounces right in front of him.
You know we want to have a good night tonight. Maybe Tamacas puts in a good word with Hugo Perez and gets him into the fold again for El Salvador. He's got a couple of caps under his belt. Already 3 of those, Cristian Sorto, but it's been a little while. Masoso. Too long for even Rito to latch on to. Actually saw a nice moment last week with Tamacas and just what he means to this league, this team, this community. They're going up against Loudon and Jeremy Garay, young potential future star for El Salvador, and Tamacas, the old guard right now at age 31, who's got 63 caps for El Salvador, went 90 against the U.S. in Nations League recently. They had a jersey swap at the end of the game. Nice photo op moment there for the teenager Garay, and who's been a fixture for a while now for El Salvador and Tamacas.
Yeah, obviously a big moment for Garay, just having the opportunity to play against one of the top players recently for El Salvador. It's just, it's emotional for players at that stage.
It's great to see, too, just around this league, all the players like Tamacas and Garay who are popping up, the Telfers of the world who are starters for their respective nations in CONCACAF, Nations League, and Gold Cup. Here's Velo, clips one back post, and Blanchett is there. Just the quality and depth of this league continues to grow every single year.
By the way, a very good showing so far from Michael Lawrence. You know, since Repetto is out of the game and Lawrence came in, there's more energy at the top for Miami FC, and that's something maybe a little bit unexpected for Oakland. You don't expect Michael Lawrence to change the game for you, but as it stands right now, he's putting a lot of pressure and limiting the way Oakland is able to move the ball out of the back.
Terrific first impressions here for Anthony Pulis being made by Michael Lawrence. We are officially into the 74th minute, which means congratulations, Bolo Akinyoni. 15,000 minutes in his USL Championship career. He's got to work back defensively. Rito lays it off. Tamaka shot blocked. Skyward still in play. Here's Rito. Touches it wide of Telfer. Loose edge of the area. Denaciano comes in and commits the foul. Might be shown a yellow card as well. That will be the case. Only second yellow doled out of the match, other belonging to Nabil Hackshaw.
Interesting decision as well by the referee. It did look like a counter-attack opportunity was there for Miami. But we'll take another look at the foul here, Joe. I think it's at that point, you know, it's about Donaciano trying to get a hold of the ball. Unfortunately, he steps on Bolu Akinyoni, and, you know, that's a yellow card anywhere in the world. So, an easy decision for the referee.
Have to be careful now in the middle of that midfield. We'll be going up against Bolo Akinyoni still. 15,000 minutes. 6 teams. Went to New York Red Bulls 2 at the beginning of his career in 2015, followed by a year at Bethlehem Steel in 2016, a year at North Carolina in 2017, then 2 years with Nashville, 2018-2019. Spent 2020 with Birmingham, and now 3 years in a row in the fold for Miami. Talk about the growth of this league. We touched on it at halftime with the tenure of Jake Edwards coming to an end. You see it right there, and just me reading off those teams of Akinyoni back in those mid-20-teens years of USL Championship. It was the Wild West. You had guys changing teams every year. There wasn't really such a thing as a long-term contract and sticking with one team. And all of a sudden, Louisville came in, sort of changed the model of that, keeping a core together still for a long time. I mean, you look at that team right now with guys who were there since the beginning for that club. And it all started with them around that time. And Akinyoni, as he crosses 15,000, he's a testament to that. Bounced around team to team in that sort of Wild West era of the league. And now it's been a fixture for 3 years for Anthony Pulis in Miami, and another change on the way. That'll be all for Christian Sorto. And this has to be a case of him just having not much left in the legs, because he's been terrific over the last 15-20 minutes of this half.
Yeah, I think, you know, for Sorto, a very good showing once again. Obviously, Anthony Pulis as well thinking about Wednesday and maybe, you know, just giving him a breather here, hoping that Miami's able to hold on. Obviously, Salazar as well, an international player, so, you know, a lot of quality in him as well. But I think I think the MVP as it stands right now, if we have to call it, for Miami FC, it's Christian Sorto.
No doubt about it. Somebody you wish you could have out there for the full 90 minutes, but just not feasible on a night like this. Salazar looking to latch onto it here with those fresh legs. As an end line. Well won by Tamacas. Rolled out ahead toward Rito. Didn't think he'd get there before Maguire. Maguire just sends it packing.
I mean, what a play from Tamakas in the middle. Just being able to move past Valo and then putting in a beautiful ball. Maybe a little bit too strong. If Rita's not able to get to that ball, then nobody will. But the right idea for the Salvadorian.
Mafeka. Graciano. Just slipped on the turf. Oakland Roots fans, get your Fam 4-pack available starting at $94 for 4 tickets and 4 drinks. Call 510-488-1144 or visit oaklandrootssc.com for more information. And if you can't make it out to the match, don't miss a minute of the action in 2023. Whether your club is on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of USL Championship action on ESPN+. Home of the USL La Liga, Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. Big Salvadorian population in the Bay Area. It's part of the reason why Tamakas was a natural fit here. And his coach, Don Delgado, an assistant with El Salvador for a little while. Sorto on the other side.
Yeah.
Do you think they found a way to figure out if they can go get some pupusas after the game at their favorite spot?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I would do, that would be the first thing in my menu.
Formella tries to take it off the volley to Mafeka, put it over the bar.
Well, this is more about Mafeka having just a good read on the ball, the way it was going to bounce. It's a good ball coming in, but Formella unable to get a good first touch, looking for a shot that time, then to control the ball. Mafeka right there, just very unfortunate at times, Oakland here tonight. It took about 2 opportunities inside the box for Memo Diaz, unable to finish. And then this one, you know, if this shot goes on target, most likely that's in the back of the net.
Oakland hungry for a goal. We are now hungry for pupusas, and if you've never tried them, make sure you go get some because they're terrific. I was, I guess, baptized in those a few years back, and it was a life-changing experience.
Well, I've been eating those probably since, what, I'm like 3 years old?
Longer than I've been alive, probably.
Yes.
I don't know, what's the best way to even describe that to somebody who's never seen what they are or had one of those?
Oh, it's hard to describe them. You just have to try them. You love them. You love them.
Miami would love to steal a goal here late on. 10 minutes to play with the 90. We said it way back in the first few minutes of the game, Jose, that if you could tell Anthony Pulis he'd get out of here with a 0-0 draw, he'd probably say, great, where do I sign? They're about 10 minutes away from that. The emotions would be amplified by 10 if he could find a way to get a victory here late on. Nakinyoti looking through. Chance here for Valero off the bar! Still alive. A late offside flag. Oakland has to be careful because Miami is looking to poach that winning goal now and get out of here with all 3.
They're getting closer and closer. A beautiful ball from Balu. But look at Lawrence keeping the play going. Look at the way he's able to get that touch. He's still fighting for every single ball. And that's a shot from Valo that will go in 99% of the time. So for Oakland, very lucky here tonight. They dodged the bullet. And I guess Noah Delgado recognizes that and brings players in Wright and Pelaez that send a message, Joe, to the Oakland players on the field. This is not okay. We're going for 3 points. There's still plenty of time left.
Pelaez, a natural striker, will come in, go atop the line. This will just slide everybody back a little bit. Tamakas will take Clemente's spot in the right center back of the 3-back. Rito back to his right wing back. Pelaez up top. Some shifting going on there. But there's that positional versatility you and I talked about in the first half for Oakland. Wright for Diaz, a like-for-like swap down this left wing.
Yeah, Wright a little bit more vertical, maybe a lot more pace, maybe trying to take advantage of Salazar and Segber's moving forward. You know, as much as you have to commend Miami FC for what they're doing lately, they are opening up an opportunity in the counterattack game that we never thought would be there, especially at this point.
All the way back for Blanchett, who was slow to get up after he dove toward that shot. That rattled off the crossbar from below, landed awkwardly on his arm. Keep an eye on that. He's continuing to shake it out. Possession nearly 60% in Oakland's favor. And they have on the night 13 shots, just 5 for Miami. But here's the issue again for Oakland. Don Delgado pointed it out in our conversation, and he'll surely be relaying that message to the team again after this one. Last week against Loudoun, 16 shots, 3 on target. He said it wasn't good enough in terms of the efficiency and turning those opportunities into legitimate shots on goal. For those 13 shots they have tonight, Jose, only 1 has been on target for Oakland.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. Maybe a little bit misleading as well, because you know the opportunities that they have been able to create, they are good ones. The fact of the matter right now is that they're lacking maybe that confidence inside the box, and that's something that will come once you get the first goal in. Then the confidence, the sentiment inside the box will be different for the strikers. So it's about patience right now.
Free kick on the way for Miami. Oakland next week goes on the road against Birmingham, rounding out their stretch of 5 straight games against Eastern Conference teams. For Miami, their next opponent is also Birmingham. It's just in the midweek this Wednesday, so Miami might soften Birmingham up a little bit for Oakland on the weekend next week. Unique situation where both of these teams share the same next opponent. I think Miami would like to have that reverse, though, where they had the extra few days off like Oakland does.
Oh, yeah.
Foul goes against Miami, jockeying for position in the box. The good thing for Miami after this tough stretch of a lot of games and not a lot of time with their limited roster because of the injuries, they will have 10 days off. And after those 10 days, they will take on a Louisville City FC side that's near the top of the table again against Josh Weiner and the reigning Eastern Conference winners. Played through here to Velo. And that match could be seen on ESPN2 Saturday, May 13th at 7 Eastern. Start of a new season of the USL on ESPN. It's good for Miami to have that layoff before the national spotlight, because this is a team that on that national stage you'd like to see put their best foot forward, because this team, clicking on all cylinders, could be one of the top in the East.
Yep, absolutely. I think those type of games bring you know, a little bit of more excitement, but as well, you know, there's a responsibility to put out a good showing.
Lawrence tried to cut it back. Right. Feka. Formella. 4 minutes to go of the 90. Similar to the first half, there hasn't been a lot of stoppage in this second half, so I don't imagine it'll be a big number. Only saw maybe 30 seconds accidentally played of stoppage time in the first half because there was a foul. Otherwise, we were slated for no minutes of stoppage time in the first half. I don't think we have more than 2 or 3 here in this second half, to be honest. Velo checked with the shoulder, has it end line here. Velo in front to Lawrence. It's blocked and cleared by Masoso. Oakland is playing with fire. Miami has been on the brink of stealing this a couple of times now.
Well, a good no call from the referee here. Velo ends up with possession inside the box, and Lawrence, the experience was a factor in that play. That's a one-timer.
Segbers off the give and go with Velo.
I don't know if you share the same feeling, but it seems like this is a win for Miami.
Oh, absolutely.
It feels like a win, not only because of the point on the road, if they're able to hold on, but because of the performance in the second half.
It'll feel like a victory if it stays 0-0. If it goes to 1-0 in Oakland's favor, it will feel gutting for Miami, who have gotten this close to earning the result, only to have it snatched from underneath them. And on the flip side of that, if they somehow get a goal and get the win, Miami, it would feel like they just lifted a trophy.
This could turn the season around for them.
And it's not like it needs turning around. Again, just have to be very clear that this is a team that has only lost 2 games, but they've only also won 1, and they have 4 draws.
Yeah.
Performances have been good. Results have been hit or miss. A couple of times they felt they could have had 3 points on a given night, and it didn't go their way. I mentioned it in the first half that Anthony Pulis said it's all about perspective right now. Do you focus on the fact you've only lost 2 in 7? Do you focus on the fact you've only won once in 7? Free kick on the way here for Oakland, hoping to make it 3 losses in 8 now for Miami. And the yellow card issued to Ryan Telfer. This is where you have to be uber careful if you're Miami. Tired legs, tired minds, defending a free kick in the 90th minute of a scoreless game.
You're absolutely right. We've seen this before.
Saw it a few days ago.
Yeah, you surprise everybody.
Twice.
Well, yeah, you surprise everybody with a good performance in the second half, and yet it's the last play of the game, the one that decides who gets 3 points.
Last play of regulation against Inter Miami CF. They give up the goal, make it 1-1. Last play of extra time, after they had just gone up 2-1, concede again.
Yep.
Both of those goals, crosses from set pieces, headers. And here we are again. The lessons learned over the last 96 hours for Miami. Will Oakland be able to capture some of the magic that Inter Miami had in the Miami Classico in the midweek and find one here late? Arched in, backside of the 6, loose in front, bouncing around, Pelaez skies it.
Already the 4th time similar situation happens. The first 2, Memo Diaz, the 3rd one, Mafeka, and the 4th one now Pelaez with just a few seconds on the field. The ball, it's a good cross coming in. Nobody gets to it. Nobody's able to clear it away from Miami. The opportunity's there, just unable to finish is Oakland at this moment.
Only 3 minutes of stoppage time here at the end. As we expected, not a lot in this second half. Would have led to a loftier number. Let's go Oakland chants emanating from the crowd, hoping to will the home side to a late dramatic 3 points. Given the other results so far around the league today, a point for Oakland, as it sets up nicely here for Tamakas to clear. Point for Oakland would get them just snuck back above the playoff line. It's still early to be looking at that, but why not? We get them in the 8th place on 8 points, and Miami FC on the other side would still be in a good spot in 7th with 8 points through 8 matches. It's too early to think about playoff races, but the table does give you a sense of where you are in a very evenly matched league this year. Parity littered throughout. There are a couple of teams who are maybe starting to look like beatable teams. Last year we saw those mostly being the MLS 2 sides, but outside of a couple of teams who have really struggled out of the gates here. I dare you to find an easy match, and really, to be fair, if you're considering Vegas one of those right now because they're in last in the West, that's San Antonio, how that went today in a 1-1 draw in San Antonio.
Yeah, that's a perfect example, especially after dropping a game last weekend against Miami 4-1. It's, you know, I think that's the trend that it shouldn't be surprising, honestly, because we've seen it throughout the years. And to your point, just a few moments ago, you know, those contracts that run for more than 1 year, that continuity with every roster, it's not only good for the players, for the teams, but for the competition as a whole.
Might be the last play of the match here. Curtis Thorne sends a free kick, headed away. Eduardo Rito wants to run. And run he will. Looking for some help. Never really arrives, and he commits the foul. And that should do it on the night. Frustration eking out from Eduardo Rito. 3 minutes have come and gone. There's the final whistle. It'll feel like a victory for Miami given the circumstances. It might feel like a loss for a Roots side that has lost previously 3 in a row in all competitions. It finishes scoreless here tonight at Pioneer Stadium.
It's a step forward for Miami FC, for Oakland. Just another opportunity to get past this tough stretch for them. It's a point at home that might end up making the difference late in the season. As it stands right now for Oakland, it's about creating chances. They have been able to do that. Work on finishing them. That's the next step for Noah Delgado and his team.
Miami FC, third game in 8 days, went 120 in the midweek in Open Cup against Inter Miami. Traveled cross country yesterday. Limited roster, signed a trialist, signed an academy kid, had a short bench as is, even with those 2 additions. And they eke out a 0-0 draw. Have to be happy as they fly back across the country. We'll come back in just a moment to wrap things up, but it's a scoreless draw tonight on the campus of Cal State East Bay between the Oakland Roots and Miami FC.
It doesn't matter how hard you play, practice, or compete, as long as you do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots teamed up and took on food insecurity, empowered all athletes to improve physical health, and expanded health and wellness resources available to the residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community, together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
Wouldn't it be great to have delicious, healthy meals delivered right to your door? No planning, shopping, or prepping. And what if your delivery was full of plant-based, fresh ingredients that truly nourish and fuel your body? Try Thistle. Our in-house chefs create a new menu each week for you to choose from before it arrives ready to eat. No prep needed. And for a limited time, you can save $100 off your first 4 weeks. So go ahead and autopilot your diet. Get started today at jointhistle.com.
Tightly contested match tonight between Oakland and Miami. It's the visitors' defensive prowess shining through again. And Oakland now winless in the last 4, 3 of those losses, and then the draw tonight. They were certainly hoping for more in front of their fans tonight. Did not get what they were hoping for. As we take a look at the full-time highlights brought to you by UCSF Health.
Well, early opportunity here, shot from outside the box, a very good one. Solid save from Maguire as well, who gets the start for Miami FC. At that point, it was Oakland with possession, Oakland creating opportunities, but not a lot inside the box. And so Barbier said, let me try it, and he was very close.
From there, second half, Oakland found the rhythm again in the early portions of the second half, and it was more the same, just Miami holding strong. And again, just no shots on target by the Roots.
Yeah, a call for handball was made from Oakland here, but you know, I'll leave it like that. It's about Memo Diaz having an opportunity as well. Don't wait for the penalty call, just finish the opportunity that you have in front of you.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Miami FC dug down to the depths of their energy reserves and found chance after chance to steal all 3 points.
Yeah, I think, you know, this is more about, you know, Miami willing to go for 3 points tonight, and they did it at some point. They were not able to finish as well, but I think on their side, it's more about Paul Blanchette having a good night as well.
A couple of big saves for Blanchette, ended up with 2 on the evening. 6 shots, 2 on target for Miami FC. Here's another good opportunity created by Rito, and another situation where the shot never gets through to goal for Oakland.
Yeah, and this is the perfect example of how things are just not going your way right now, but they might in 2 weeks. And after that, it will seem like every ball, every shot that you try to put in the back of the net will go in. So it's about having patience for Oakland. Probably the last chance, a beautiful shot here from Valo. This time it's not Blanchette, but it's the post. And, a lot of credit to Lawrence. He came in and changed the game for Miami.
Trialist, signed, made an impact. We'll see if he factors in over the next few weeks for Miami FC. Well, there you have it. Just 1 shot on target for Oakland, 14 total shots. After a game last week where they had 16 shots, 3 on target. It was a point of emphasis for Noah Delgado last week. I imagine he'll put a spotlight on it again.
Yeah, there's a conversation to have there with Oakland. But I think, the system is there. It's about, again, patience. Just trust the process. In 2 weeks, things might look a lot different.
That's it for us tonight. Time for us to go get some pupusas, Jose. Both of these teams next up will take on Birmingham. For Miami, it's in the midweek. For Oakland, it's next weekend. They finish scoreless tonight on the campus of Cal State East Bay at Pioneer Stadium. For the crew that makes this possible, and my broadcast partner, Jose Rodriguez, I'm Joe Malfa saying good night from Hayward, California, where the Oakland Roots and Miami FC finish scoreless and share a point each. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.